This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple launches an AI tool, news of Apple's next OS betas, and iFixit digs deeper into Apple Vision Pro. It is Thursday, the 8th of February, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. It was 1 week ago today that Apple started teasing some sort of AI and generative AI announcement or announcements later this year. While this is not that, the Cupertino company is showing off something said to be impressive. A number of sites, including Cult of Mac and VentureBeat, have written up an open-source artificial intelligence model called something MGIE, all caps. The Cult of Mac piece says MGIE is short for MLLM Guided Image Editing, which makes very little sense. You know what? I'm getting caught up on the wrong thing here. I'm going to call it MG. Unless or until I hear otherwise, I'm calling it MG. According to the cult, MG uses powerful multimodal large language models, aka MLLMs, AI models capable of processing text and images to increase capabilities in instruction-based image editing. Put more simply, the cult says MG responds to a user typing natural language, simply saying what they want to alter an image. According to VentureBeat, MG can perform common Photoshop-style edits, such as cropping, resizing, rotating, flipping, and adding filters. The model can also apply more advanced edits, such as changing the background, adding or removing objects, and blending images. Great for people who do that kind of thing, but to me it sounds like just the beginning. And it seems to sound that way to VentureBeat as well. While the site calls MG a breakthrough in the field of instruction-based image editing, it also says that it demonstrates the potential of using MLLMs to enhance image editing and opens up new possibilities for cross-modal interaction and communication. It's that last part, the new possibilities for cross-modal interaction and communication, that makes this sound like just the beginning. For Apple specifically, VentureBeat says MG highlights the company's growing prowess in AI research and development, and may be Apple's most impressive demonstration yet of how AI can enhance everyday creative tasks. One assumes that can eventually translate to less creative everyday tasks. Time will tell. The articles about MG were finally enough to get me to try an AI-powered anything. Maybe I did it wrong. Maybe it's nowhere near ready for prime time. I asked it to crop a picture for me. A picture of a couple of mugs on a shelf, partial of one mug with an image of a honeybee on the mug that one could fully see. The instruction I gave was crop image so that mug fills the area. MG listed the expressive instruction as crop the image to fit the description of the image. Place the two yellow mugs in the foreground and the large bee in the background. The image at output looked like bright yellow green beans on a field of brown. I tried it again with a less subjective instruction. I popped in a picture of the family cat with the instruction, blur the background. The expressive instruction from MG: if the background of the image were blurred, the focus would be solely on the cat and its surroundings, drawing attention to its presence and actions. If the cat's background were blurred, the image would be less visually engaging, and the viewer would be forced to make a decision whether to focus on the image or not. Meanwhile, the image was different, blurry, though not a standard blur filter. I'd say one or both of us need some more work. Still, kind of fun to play with. Switching to the less experimental, the Future of Software parade continues. Or the parade of future software? I don't know. A piece from Mac Rumors says Apple has seeded the second betas of iOS and iPadOS 17.4 to people in its public testing program. Same goes for the second beta of macOS Sonoma 14.4, according to a separate piece from the site. While no new discoveries are evident in the macOS beta, there is an interesting feature turning up for iPhone. A piece from iDownload blog says Apple's virtual assistant, you know the one, rhymes with bleary. Apple's virtual assistant can read back messages in multiple languages in the iOS 17.4 beta. In settings, the piece says, there's a new option to choose languages for Apple's virtual assistant to use for message playback. As it stands now, iDownload blog says, the virtual assistant reads aloud messages in the primary language used for all voice queries. iDownload blog figures the new feature should be good for folks who regularly message people who speak different languages. Though there's no public beta for it yet, there is news of a new security feature in the Vision OS 1.1 beta. Mac Rumors says iMessage contact key verification is on the way for Apple Vision Pro. Out to the general public since December's iOS 17.2 and associated updates, the piece says iMessage contact key verification is an optional security feature that allows users to manually verify who they are messaging with by comparing verification codes in person or on a phone call. The piece says the feature also includes advanced protections that can help prevent attackers from impersonating anyone in a conversation, according to Apple. More info is available on Apple's site. You can also hear more about it on another show I do, The Checklist by SecureMac. Look for checklist number 356, security updates and Apple's latest OS updates at securemac.com/checklist or wherever you get podcasts. The iFixit probe of Apple Vision Pro continues. What they have found are numbers that make no sense. According to a piece from Engadget, iFixit found that the screens on Apple Vision Pro are incredibly pixel dense, with 12,078,000 pixels smashed into a 0.98 square inches. This means that each individual pixel is just 7.5 micrometers, which makes them roughly the size of a red blood cell. According to the report, you can fit 54 Apple Vision Pro pixels inside of a single iPhone 15 Pro pixel. Do you know what this means? You can fit so much blood into an iPhone screen. That may be the wrong takeaway. When it comes to iFixit teardowns, what people tend to focus on is the fix-it part. How easy or difficult would it be to put back together whatever they have taken apart? Given all that's gone into Apple's headset, I was expecting a repairability score of 1 out of 10, 2, maybe. Surprisingly, they have tagged it with a provisional score of 4 out of 10, though they indicate that arriving at that number was kind of tough. When we give a repairability score, says iFixit, we pick which components to evaluate based on what we're seeing in the rest of the product category. But XR hardware is so bleeding edge that everything from the exterior build to the basic means of navigation still varies wildly from device to device and generation to generation. That said, they really like what Apple has done. Quoting the site again, it's wild to look at an Apple device this complex and see a replaceable battery. Yes, it's maybe closer to a power supply, and yes, it's expensive. But when it comes down to it, Apple looked at a device and intended for parts to be replaced. That's pretty major. The bar is really that low, folks. There are still head-mounted displays without replaceable pads. Do we wish that the battery pack had replaceable cells? Of course. Is this pretty impressive for Apple's first foray? Also, yes. And finally today, one of Apple's closest corporate allies is giving one of Apple's most troublesome thorns $1.5 billion. A piece from Engadget says Disney is throwing that much dough at Epic Games. Citing a statement from the house the mouse built, the piece says Disney will invest $1.5 billion in Fortnite creator Epic Games, the company announced on Wednesday. As part of the initiative, Disney and Epic will create a brand new games and entertainment universe over the next few years. The company's once and future CEO Bob Iger was quoted as saying, "Our exciting new relationship with Epic Games will bring together Disney's beloved brands and franchises with the hugely popular Fortnite and a transformational new games and entertainment universe. This marks Disney's biggest entry ever into the world of games and offers significant opportunities for growth and expansion." In addition to gaming, Disney's release says the new persistent universe will offer a multitude of opportunities for consumers to play, watch, shop, and engage with content, characters, and stories from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar, and more. Players, gamers, and fans will be able to create their own stories and experiences, express their fandom in a distinctly Disney way, and share content with others in ways that they love. Now, if Iger can just broker a peace between Epic and Apple, I would really love to experience all of this on my Apple Vision SE. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.